من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله، فقد أمرنا الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ثم أما بعد. A few weeks back, I received a call from a parent at 9:45 p.m. at night. Call upon call, and on the fifth call, I decided that I would pick up the phone call, only to hear the father on the other end say that his daughter has decided that she's no longer going to be Muslim, and she finds Christianity as the true religion as opposed to Islam. Upon further interrogation, I come to realize that this problem has been taking place for almost 1 year, year and a half, and there's been multiple attempts from the parents to help her. And the forms of help that was given to her were in the form of going and buying some Islamic books from an Islamic bookstore. Mind you that this daughter went through an entire life of going through Islamic schools. And her first year in a public school, she started questioning everything that she has ever lived for. And she comes to this realization through whatever reasoning, and every single answer that was provided to her by her parents, by her own family, were not sufficient enough. They said, we'll watch YouTube videos together, we'll do this together, we will read books of Ahmad who proves that Islam is the true religion, and all of this. But nothing satisfied her. And upon further conversations with the sister, I came to realize the problem was not the sister. The problem was the parents. You see, many times when any one of you in your households, if you ever, Allah has tested you with this, where you find out that somebody's very close to you, some relative of yours, they are diagnosed with cancer. We don't do this where we say, let's go to Chapters Indigo and pick up a few books on cancer, and then we're going to sit in our living room and we're going to open some YouTube videos and we're going to watch how to cure cancer together. We take them to the specialist who can help. And we take this for the matter of very sincerity, and we take it very seriously. But when it comes to the matter of deen, when it comes to the matter of iman, for some odd reason, people think that they have the liberty to fix somebody's iman or the cancer they have with their iman, even if they're not trained. See, many of such problems, if they are fixed by someone who is not qualified to answer, you push that person in all good intention that you're trying to help them as a good Muslim. But you don't recognize that you have actually pushed them further away from the faith than you've helped them. And the problem here was the disconnect that the parents had with this person, and this is just one of numerous examples. As soon as the khutbah ended, the first khutbah that I did, I was sitting in the meeting room with Sheikh Arij, and I told him that I got an SMS from a mother from the halaqah. Apparently she has my number, and she messaged and she says, thank you for your khutbah. My daughter left Islam 12 years ago. How do I bring her back? This is just happening right now. So this is a problem. And the question that people ask all the time is, where is the problem? And I run a program over here for teenagers, with the partnership with the London Muslim Mosque at, 34 odd teenagers come 9:30 every single morning. And they fill out their journals and they write their stories to me. And I respond to their stories. And that is the most exciting thing for them, with complete anonymity. So I don't know who they are. They know that I'm responding, but I don't know who they are. And it's very obvious just reading from those journals and the conversations that we have with families that bring such problems, that we have a massive parenting challenge. And we have a lack of skill from the parents' sides in terms of dealing with teenagers specifically. And to that extent, after conversations with Sheikh Arij, we decided that on December 25th, inshallah, we'll be holding a workshop for parents in this hall. It's going to be in the morning. You'll hear more about it on the social platforms and we'll announce it, inshallah. It'll be with registration and you show up, first come, first serve. But the purpose of that is that we can't talk enough about how to parent in this country. Many of us don't even have those skill sets. Many of us have made mistakes and now they regret. A father came to me, he said, I'm a father of 5 people. I wish I had heard this khutbah 15 years ago. Because all of my children, my youngest one is 21 now. So for those of you that have teenagers, hani'an lakum, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them, use them as an opportunity to enter you in Jannah. And to that, I decided that today's khutbah is going to be primarily on a glimpse from that workshop. And I've chosen a section that is beneficial for everybody. So even if you are unable to attend, inshallah, you will benefit. The first thing we need to understand in the teenage psychology, and Dr. Haim Ginott, who is a psychologist, he has written many, many books. He writes these big reference manuals, and he has something called Parent and a Child. He has something called Parent and a Teacher. Sorry, A Teacher and a Child. And he has another book called Parent and the Teenager. I mean, these are big books. They're like, even on Amazon, they're like $400. Like an average person is not going to buy them. But guess what? We live in Canada. It's almost free for you to get a library card and go to the library and pick this book up and read it. When he talks about the teenagers, there's one sentence that I will just explain over here. He says, as parents, it is our need to be needed by our children. In our psyche as parents, I want a sense of significance from my child. I won't have a need inside of me that verifies and validates to me that I am still in need by my child. My child still needs me. So many of our decisions, many of our conversations, many of our rules that we supposedly sometimes set in our houses are driven not by pure behavioral change in that child, but driven by the subconscious fulfillment of that need within me to be needed. To that extent, one of the journals mentioned that a person, one of these teenagers, they bought a jacket. Okay, look at it from the psychology. The child worked, earned money by shoveling snow in the cold, got some $180, $190, went to a shop, picked up a jacket, only to come home and have that jacket cut into 2 pieces by the father from the premise, how dare you buy a jacket without my permission? And we might find this is an extreme example, but examples of such takes place in our houses all the time, varying degrees. It's happening in our houses. Let's not hide it. Let's not shove it underneath the rug. We've got a perfect, we're Muslims, we got perfect. No, we're not perfect. We have a lot of issues. But one of them is we do not understand teenagers. So he says that parents have this need to be needed by their children. Whereas teens have the need not to be needed by their parents. So in their psyche, they don't want to be needed. I don't want to be tethered to you, Dad. I don't want to be tethered to you and your shadow, Mom. That's their psyche. And from there comes the sirah, this constant battle of need. No, you pull here. And we have these arguments that take place. It's all driven by needs. Each side being selfish. So none of them are better off. Parents are as much to blame than the teenagers. As a matter of fact, the bigger blame goes to the parent. You're an adult. How dare you let your needs overrule your logical and intellectual abilities? But we do it all the time. And we do it subconsciously. We do it without knowing. Right? So that is very important. So the 5 things that we must know about teenage psychology. We go into much detail. I don't have much time for it. I'm just going to enumerate them, maybe a few examples, and hopefully, inshallah, if you have time, then come to the workshop. Number 1, your children, when they become teenagers, they become extremely sensitive. As soon as they hit the age of adolescence, 10, 11, 12, their sensitivity levels start increasing. I can tell you that as a father of 3 teenagers, that they become very sensitive to every little thing. And what we do sometimes to that is we verbalize their sensitivity to the entire world. Oh, she's been acting up all day nowadays. Ever since she's become teenager, she's been doing that. Oh, he's been doing a lot of that. And you see, because of this heightened sense of sensitivity, they feel things. And when they feel things, they're like a sponge. So they are going to absorb that which is good. They're going to absorb that which is evil. That's the nature of the world they're going to live in. You can't change that. See, as parents, we think we are the guardians of our children. That's actually completely wrong. You are the guardian of your children until they become baligh. Baligh in a sense that you are responsible for teaching them all the adab and everything that you want to teach them, salah, everything. The minute they become 13, that daughter, if she is wearing hijab for you and out of your fear, or the son that is praying because of your fear, that is going to end the day you end. And we know so many examples in our families where an individual, the minute they passed away, Al-Jadd Al-Akbar, the great-grandfather, when he passed away, what happens? Everybody leaves Islam. Or the practices. Because they were only doing it out of the veneration or fear of this one person. Your child should not be praying out of fear for you. Your job as a parent is to instill azama of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their hearts. Your job is to instill the fear, the greatness, the veneration of Allah in the hearts of those children. As long as you're tethered with them legally in Canada until 18. Because as they become 18, they can simply walk out and you can't do anything. So use that as an opportunity to... So instead of saying, why didn't you pray? Questioning his action, remind him about the consequence. With love. So there's 2 ways I can remind my child. Hey, if you don't pray, you're going to roast in hellfire. I can say that. Or I can say, I really don't want you to see yourself standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day. And you've had a few fumbles with your salah. I think it's something responsible. You should really think about it. Use his intellect. He is not an animal. She is not an animal. They think. And that is the reason I do this activity with parents in parent workshops. Where we say, oh, Rasulullah said in the hadith, فَضْرِبُوهُمْ بِالْعَشْرِ, hit them when they become 10. I'm allowed to hit. And the quick response to that is, yeah, sure, you're allowed. But there's a precondition to that. What is that precondition? The precondition to that is at the age of 7, you are required to command your child every single day for 5 daily prayers for the consecutive 3 years in a row, equal to 5,400 times. When you do that 5,400 plus times, salli, 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 namaz par lo, then Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, فَضْرِبُوهُمْ. You can hit them then. I have a neighbor that is across the street and she has a new dog. And when she got this dog, he was not trained. So throughout the pandemic, every single day, once in the day, one time a day, the dog comes out and she walks the dog up and down, training the dog to sit. Once, that thing happens once. And after 1 year, the dog learned how to sit. You see, our children, they're receptors of good if you tell them enough times. But we've not done. Many of us, we have teenagers. When they become 13, 14, 15, they're not praying. First question I ask them, how many salahs did they pray when they were 7, 8, 9, 10? Neglect. Absolutely not. We don't even tell them, no, Saghir. He's small. Why should we force him? No, he's such a child. If you do not build that habit and that consistency, then we don't have the freedom to tell them whatever we want when they grow up. Then the fault lies on the parent initially, because we didn't fulfill the formula. So the first thing that is important for us to understand here is they become very sensitive. Number 2, they become very aware about their self-image. So they're very conscious about their self-image. Be very careful what you say about them to others. We say these statements very, oh, you know what, I'm going to call him, wo to aayega hi nahi, he's not even going to come. We say this. We will say this statement knowing the action, and now we are projecting that negative image of your child to the rest of the world. What is he going to do? He's going to prove you right. He's going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to come. You keep telling the world that I'm not going to come. I am the one you're saying. Oh, he doesn't eat. Well, he's going to make sure that he doesn't eat, because you're projecting an image about him. Project a positive image about your child. There's so many things your child does good. Take one of them. Replace it with the negativity that you are spreading around the world about him. Number 3, your child will learn through experiences. No matter how many times you tell him or her, don't do this. Don't do this. I have been there. I have experienced it. Learn from me. They don't care. Their psychology doesn't care. You at age 14, your parents, your children, when they become teenagers, you are not responsible for their actions. What you are responsible for is, as a parent, when they fall, when they fumble, when they make a mistake, you are there. And you're providing them unconditional love and care so they can get up and learn from that mistake. Take an audit of your conversations with your children. 80 to 90% of it is instruction. How much of it is conversation? More conversation, less instruction. That's what the child needs. When was the last time you spoke to him or her about how was your day in school? And you put your phone aside. Conversations. You're in the car. What happened in school today? Oh, I tried speaking to her. She didn't answer. Obviously, they're not going to answer. They're like, their alarms are going off. Dad doesn't speak to me. What does he want from me? But when you do it enough times, then they start realizing, oh, wait a minute, like he's changed. Oh, she's changed. She generally wants to know about something about me. Those are some basic tips, inshallah. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to connect with one another, inshallah, on the workshop that we'll be doing, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He blesses this masjid as well as the people and as all the parents. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه فإنه الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. In the end, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send salutations on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He opens the hearts of the parents and teaches them the skills that are required so they can nurture their kids and take care of their kids. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the hearts of both the teenagers as well as the children so they are able to understand one another. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that every single one of us that is here in this masjid today, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects your progenies to come ila yawm al-qiyamati on iman. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects every single child irrespective of their struggles with their iman and their faith. We ask that the difficult times that are upon us and the difficult times that are going to be upon us, that Allah saves us from the fitna of iman and fitna in our deens. And we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps our hearts united in this masjid and all the masajids around Canada and in this blessed country. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واستقيموا. استووا صفوفكم واعتدلوا. Please stand feet to feet, shoulder to shoulder. Fill in the first stuff first. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله.